Yes, now, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Thomas Rants YouTube channel, and here is my Smackdown reactions. I mean, first things first, let's start off how the show started off. Cody Rhodes came out after winning his King of the Ring tournament, obviously, to cut a promo saying, he's challenging John Cena at SummerSlam, obviously, but he said something about the King of the Ring tournament and what it meant. He said, well, represents the past, people like Booker T. I say Booker because I'm Geordie, not Booker. Booker T, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Bret Hart, Triple H. He said these are legends that have won this crown, and now so have I. But it also represents the future, and that is the challenge with the greatest of all time, John Cena, for the WWE Championship at SummerSlam, right? That's when Randy Orton came out. The man he beat, and he says, look, I had you dead to rights, I could have kicked your head off, but I hesitated. You didn't hesitate, and I respect you for that, because they're best friends, and Randy was his mentor. And that's when Drew McIntyre returned, which was nice to see. I kind of missed him. I realized how much I loved him. I missed him, right? And he came back, and he did the whole usual, let's insult everybody in the ring. And, well, what he said to Randy was, you hesitated. You're not the same Randy, you've not got it anymore, right? Cody didn't hesitate, and this is when he said to Randy, you want to watch how nicely you're talking to Cody because he didn't hesitate. And your back has issues, and yet in the match, Cody was exploiting Randy's back, and Drew was trying to turn something on Randy and Cody. And when he was, doing all his talk, and Randy hit Drew with an RKO, Drew kind of drew that anger, that old Randy out of Randy Orton, and he lashed out in anger. That's when Cody kind of looked at him a bit concerned, which I hate, because why is Cody playing dumb? Cody's supposed to be a smart, distinguished man who wrestles and wins wrestling matches. Why are you looking confused? I mean, look disappointed, fine, fair enough, be like, Randy, how are you, man? Relax, bro. But he looked a bit concerned, and that's when, Randy kind of just left the ring and in anger. And they kind of had this moment, and we can see it happening in the future. We've had the match, the dream match that we want, but now we want the feud. One of them's going to be heel, and we thought it would be Cody, but I'm looking at Randy, and I hope it is Randy. Randy is a great heel. Cody might be a great heel, but I just... Randy, man. His character's so easy to do it as well. But we had Drew McIntyre go backstage, talk to NICHOLLZ. We're getting Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton next week at Saturday night's main event, which I won't complain. It feels like a very chucked together match, but I'm just wondering, are we done with Damian and Drew, and are we ending it on Damian just winning the feud? And the fact that Drew McIntyre calls out everybody and will never let things go, you had the whole feud with CM Punk and Seth Rollins for like a year, right? Last time he was saw in WWE, he was getting a concerto from Damian Priest. You're telling me Drew McIntyre's not coming back to take Damian Priest's head off? Crazy. That is crazy. But, they want to build on a new storyline, and I'm fine with that. Damian's busy, Drew's busy. Fine. We'll revisit it at a later time. I'm fine with that. Because you know what? And do you know what? Why am I being stupid? They're going to rekindle it very soon, and it's going to be Damian Drew at SummerSlam. God. Fuck. Anyway. What other non-title things did we have? Because I like to cover the non-title things first. Damian Priest had an encounter with Aleister Black backstage, and said, I heard you had a match with R-Truth next week, which to do because Damian's been having a bit of a feud with R-Truth, but Damian's kind of R-Truth's friend, obviously back from being in the Judgment Day, and now they're both not in the Judgment Day, and Damian's kind of like befriending them. And that's when they had a bit of a stare-off. It was a bit awkward, I'll be honest. I just don't like these awkward promos, like where they're just trying to, it seems like they're going somewhere, but they're not. They're just kind of like, I'm going to fight you, I'm better than you, it's just stupid, right? But this episode of Smackdown was very weird. Normally it's 3 hours, right? And with watching it on Netflix a few days later, they cut out all the ads and the extra segments, and it's quite a bit shorter. Normally it's like 2.5 hours. This was an hour 20. Now, I'm guessing it was probably recorded about an hour 45, maybe 2 hours. But it was shorter, and I know they said it was moving back to 2 hours, but this was particularly weird. It was particularly short. The matches were particularly short. There was piped-in crowd noises. There was extra segments that were just weird. I feel like, because it was the July 4th edition, I feel like it might have been pre-recorded, like maybe after an episode of Monday Night Raw, and that's why some seats were empty. Some people were always leaving, and that's why the piping crowd noises were there, maybe, because maybe the crowd was there because I'm fucking tired. It seemed so weird, this episode, I'll be completely honest. We had a bit of a promo from Julia. Didn't mean much. Solo Sikoa and the United States title picture's kicking off. I mean, in the first seconds of Smackdown, Solo Sikoa was in the car and Jacob Fatu came and tried to wipe out the whole of Solo Sikoa's faction. They're not even calling it the Bloodline no more because they had a promo when Solo Sikoa introduced Tala Tonga and he said, this isn't the Bloodline, this is something much more dangerous. Didn't give it a name, but it's Solo's faction, right? And then they actually closed the show where Solo teamed up with JC Mateo against Jacob Fatu and Jimmy Uso, to which Jacob and Jimmy won, Jacob pinning Solo, and the whole match Solo was scared of Jacob and he was always making JC fight him, and if Solo was getting in the ring it was against Jimmy, and eventually when Jacob got his hands on Solo he ended up pinning him, which is crazy because he's just pinned the United States champion who just beat him for the title. But this is the story, they're going to fight it out, you know. Solo cheated to get the title and Jacob's going to win the title back, obviously. And then after the win, Jacob wasn't satisfied. He was going to put him through the table. Lo and behold, Tonga Loa, Tala Tonga, they put Jacob through the table and absolutely decimated Jimmy Uso. I'm glad Jimmy Uso's getting involved. They need something to do with him, and I feel like teaming him up with Jacob Fatu's obviously going to put the hype on him. Poor Jimmy. His brothers have been shot to the moon and he's just stood there. Crazy, really. And we got a great moment. Charlotte Flair was speaking to Nick Aldis and she said, look, I want to be the one to face Tiffany Stratton out because obviously Tiffany Stratton's picking her own opponent for Evolution. This is when Nick Aldis said, Tiffany's not going to pick you and I want you in a different title picture. And she said, I want you in a tag title picture. And to pan the camera to Alexa Bliss, whole crowd goes wild because this is what we wanted. Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss. Now what I liked about this promo was that Alexa addressed, no Charlotte, we're not friends, but we should be partners. And, you know, they addressed that, you know, Charlotte, Tiffany's not going to pick you. And, you know, what was it? She said, you've not really been relevant for years or something like that. And the crowd, I mean, this was Philadelphia, you know, was it? Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. It's Pennsylvania. Not Philadelphia, sorry. Philadelphia is in Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is quite a ruthless state. They will let their opinion be known. So the crowd loved that Alexa alluded to, you know, no one's really liked you for years. What I didn't like about this promo was that why, you know, because Alexa said we should be partners. Why should you be partners? What is the need? Is it because you're both veterans and you used to be friends, maybe back when you started? But back in 2017, 2018, you used to be on top, and now you're just kind of mid-carders who are washed. You know, it's very weird dynamic. But they were in a triple threat tag team match with the Secret Service and Meech and B-Fab, the only women's tag teams on SmackDown, probably one of the only women's tag teams in WWE. And Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss won. Shock. They're in the Fatal 4-Way tag team match with Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez, who are the champions. We still need a tag team from Raw. Who's that going to be? What? Maxine Dupree and Natalia. And who's it going to be from NXT? It's not going to be Fatal Influence. They're busy. So, I wonder who that's going to be. Maybe it could be Izzy, Damon, Tatum, Boxley. Maybe I'm onto something. Anyway, regardless, I feel like Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss, if the Judgment Day didn't retain, they'd be the ones winning the titles. And this is, I mean, it's obvious where it's going. The match was very quick. The match was under 5 minutes, I'm pretty sure, which is crazy. Which is absolutely crazy. But on to the best thing in WWE right now, the SmackDown Tag Team Division. Now, obviously, we have Montez Ford and Andrew Dalton's Street Profits, the Tag Team Champions. We have DIY, Motor City Machine Guns, Fraxium all chasing the titles. Now, Los Garza have entered themselves back in the fray. We're just missing Pretty Deadly, but Pretty Deadly are injured. Los Garza have been gone a while they were in AAA and won the AAA tag team titles. And they all want the Wyatt Six. Now, Nick Aldis said Fraxium could take on the newly formed tag team of Andrade and Rey Fenix this week. You know, DIY did it last week and they lost. Fraxium were making fun of DIY for losing, so Nick Aldis made that match happen, which is great. Can I talk about that match first, actually, because Rey Fenix and Andrade, I'm liking that they're putting them in this tag team. I don't like that they're subdued to a tag team, but I like that they're doing something with them, because I feel like they were just putting them in random matches. They didn't have stories for them. They didn't have anything planned for them, but they're recognising that they're going to waste these talents. So they didn't. They put them in a tag team match, and they have great chemistry. They are now my favourite tag team. I mean, Fraxium were my favourite tag team on SmackDown, like, in terms of potential-wise. But now it's going to be Rey Fenix and Andrade. I mean, they're fast-paced, hard-hitting, and they've got great chemistry, and the crowd love them. Make it an actual tag team, do you know what I mean? I mean, they put on a great match with Fraxium. As for the others, obviously the feuding with the Wyatt Six, they said, you know what, one of us from each team is going to team up as a 4 to take on the Wyatt Six. So it was Johnny Gargano, Montez Ford, Humberto, and Chris Sabin. And they took on the Wyatt Six, which is crazy because we got Uncle Howdy wrestling on SmackDown. Great. And the Wyatt Six got the win, obviously, because them lot can't get along. But I'm loving the dynamic. I'm loving where this tag team's going. WWE recognises that this is the best scene, but they recognise that all of them are involved in the tag team title picture, and eventually, and they can't run with that forever, and eventually it's going to have to stop. So that's why they're building new tag teams, Rey Fenix and Andrade, to keep this great momentum going. And the fact that we've got 6, 7, maybe 8 good tag teams on SmackDown, and Raw is suffering, this means that we can push some over to the other brand and help Monday Night Raw out. Genius, man. Come on. See the signs. It's beautiful. Finally, what else did we have? The world title pictures. Nothing from John Cena, obviously. We just had the Cody Rhodes. So this is the last thing to talk about. Tiffany Stratton gets to pick her opponent, just like Io Sky did. Io Sky picked Rhea Ripley. WWE went, you know what? They're the 2 biggest stars on Monday Night Raw. We have no stories. Liv Morgan's out. It's a great match. Make it happen. You can't go wrong with an Io Sky Rhea Ripley match. You can go wrong with the feud because we don't want to see the feud. We just want the match. Fine. So they said the same for Tiffany Stratton. Now, obviously, they couldn't pick Jade Cargill. She won Queen of the Ring. She's facing out SummerSlam. They couldn't pick Bianca Belair. She's still injured. Couldn't pick Naomi. Wouldn't make sense. She's got the Money in the Bank briefcase. Couldn't pick Nia Jax. They've already had 3 matches. You know, couldn't pick Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss. They're in a tag team match. Couldn't pick Julia. She's champion. Who would be great for that pick? So they bring back Trish Stratus, which I'm not thrilled about because, you know, it's just Trish Stratus comes back all the time when there's a big pay-per-view on, you know. Or they're in Toronto. But at the same time, who else has she got to face? It's Evolution. They need something that represents the women's history. Trish Stratus is obviously a part of that. So that's why I'm not as mad about it. They were probably going to go the Nikki Bella route, but with Liv Morgan being injured, they probably pulled that, and because we've not seen Nikki Bella since Liv Morgan. So they've probably replaced it with Trish Stratus and Tiffany. For some people, it's probably a dream match. For me, I couldn't care less, but I can see the appeal for it. But what was weird about this was they brought Jade Cargill out before it. And all 3 of these women are faces. I mean, Tiffany, Jade Cargill have respectfully were like, we're going to face each other at SummerSlam. You know, it's going to be Tiffy time. No, it's going to be Queen of the Realm, going to be new champion. Then Trish Stratus came out and they just kind of explained that these matches are happening. It was such pointless. They weren't saying nothing of importance. Literally what WWE should have done was have Tiffany Stratton come out here and say, this is my challenger, Trish Stratus. And Jade Cargill shouldn't have even been there. I'll tell you why Jade Cargill shouldn't have even been there. Because right after this promo happened in the ring, there's a shot of Trish Stratus walking backstage and she bumps into Jade Cargill and Jade Cargill goes, hey, I heard you got a match at Evolution. No shit. You were out there in the ring with them just having a conversation. So the fact is, bumped into each other backstage 20 seconds after you went off screen. Okay then. And now you're like, oh, I've heard you got a match. No, you were there. You were there when it happened. So it was a very random scene, but it was all just to set up Naomi hitting Jade Cargill with the Money in the Bank briefcase, telling her to be cautious, whatever. So they made the match happen for Jade Cargill, Naomi at Evolution, because these need to be at Evolution and not in like a Battle Royal. So that's a good match. That's happening, you know. And it's a big feud anyway, and they need to fully end it, right? And this actually, I feel like it was a bit to reveal Naomi's briefcase, let's be honest, custom, right? Now, the last few years, all the briefcase have been custom. This year, Naomi and Seth's are both custom. Last year, Damien and Tiffy. Wait, not Damien. Who was last year? Or Drew's. Well, Drew didn't have time to get custom, but Tiffany's was. And the year before that, Damien and Eo's wasn't, but Damien was. Slowly, they're all becoming custom. Now, originally, I didn't know how to feel about this, because I'm like, you know, you're ruining the Money in the Bank look. We're never just going to have the Money in the Bank briefcase. Everyone's going to have custom. And we know it's because WWE want to sell more things. But I don't mind it because it's kind of like, it only comes around once a year. It's not around for the whole year. And why not have everyone have their own unique design? Bring some specialty to it, If they started doing that with the title belts, like how occasionally like LA Knight had the LA Knight like belt strap. It's fine on the odd occasion, right? Like the LA Knight last time they had a custom title like that. Can't even remember. Couldn't tell you. Maybe Bray Wyatt, right? If they started constantly doing that with the title belts, I'd be a bit pissed off. I wouldn't like it. But the briefcases, I don't actually mind. I don't mind them having custom briefcases every year because it's a chance to be creative and have a bit of fun. So that I don't actually mind. But apart from the weird, piping crowd noises, and just the weird segments that made no sense and had no significance, Smackdown was great. I liked how short it was. It didn't drag. Matches were great, even though they were short. They were hard hitting and fast paced. Loved them. Great episode of Smackdown. Thank you all so much for watching. Please. Oh, and another thing, when they had segments backstage and they said, "Oh, let's make this match happen," it happened right away. They didn't go, "Let's make this match happen." Then they had a match and another segment, and then that match happened. No, they literally went like, "Oh, frack!" They went, "Use 4 are gonna team up against the White 6." Bang, that match happened. Charlotte and Alexa Bliss, you're going to team up. That match happened. Love that. Let's keep that up. Anyway, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.